All right now, welcome back to the Revardo show. And do we have a show for you today? Do we? Of course we do. And on today's episode, we're talking about what everybody else is talking about. The Jeffrey Epstein case. Oh boy, are we tired of the Jeffrey Epstein case or not? Let's be honest. If they really wanted to release these files, they would have been released the files. Think about it. The media, the finance people, the tech people, the big giants, the print. It's a wicked world. Did I mention Hollywood? Hollywood, the elite, the most elites. These are the things that they don't want to talk about. But tonight, we will on the Revardo show. Roll it.
Thomas Massey says he thinks that there is going to be a deluge of Republicans now voting for this. I mean, do you think that was how the White House expected this effort would turn out?
Look, I think they probably figure there's going to be a few that vote for it. I don't know how many, but some of them have made a big deal of it in their own campaigns, and I don't know how much their constituents actually care about it, but they do for some reason. So, yeah, I don't think it's going to be a huge shock if some Republicans vote for this. Of course, it's still got to pass the Senate, unlikely, and then it would have to be signed by the president, highly unlikely. So, I mean, this is kind of a futile exercise, I guess. I mean, ultimately, whatever documents come out.
But then why is the White House fighting it so much? That's my question here, because I do agree with you. It might die in the Senate.
Because I think they believe that the time spent on this and that the Republicans who've bought into the Democratic tactics on this are ultimately hurting the president's agenda and hurting the overall Republican effort to change this country for the better. The president firmly believes this is nothing but a distraction tactic ginned up by Democrats who didn't care about this one bit until a couple of months ago. They didn't care about it when Joe Biden was the president.
Okay, so let's break this down. Let's break down why the timing is a little bit too convenient and opportunistic for the CNN and the Democratic Liberal Party. They just took two losses. Mondami, buyer's remorse. And of course, when the government opened back up, they feel like they caved. Joe Biden was our president for 4 years. 4 years. And he never released the Epstein files. So why is this breaking news now? Why is this the top of the news? Why is President Trump having to respond back to you guys with telling you to release the Epstein files for Bill Clinton, J.P. Morgan? He said, I'm the president of the United States. I'm busy. Why aren't the files already released? Joe Biden could have been released the files. So go ahead and release them. Even Cuomo is saying this is a head fake.
I'll give you a big signal of how they feel about this, okay? No other show on TV right now in this slot has avoided the latest turn in the Epstein files as long as I have. Because one, I see that it's such an obvious head fake. The shutdown is losing its momentum and its outrage. We need a new point of outrage. Here comes these emails that we all knew were coming about Epstein. Fair point. I do believe the Democrats put it out right now for that reason.
And he's right. The Democrats timed this. This isn't just a surprise. This is strategic planning after they took a loss by caving to the Republicans. This was perfect timing. After they caved to the Republicans, they have nothing left but the Epstein files. So they threw out the Epstein files. Cuomo is right. But he isn't the only one saying this. Megyn Kelly said exactly what we've been saying the whole time. And she didn't hold anything back. She didn't sugarcoat anything. Roll it.
Okay, once again, if Epstein said anything to Michael Wolff about Donald Trump, and there's 100 hours of it on tape, you don't think Michael Wolff would have dropped that on the Halloween surprise he did 6 days before the last election? It's such bullshit. Like, nothing is there. And not to mention the fact, you don't think Joe Biden would have dropped it when he was running against Trump?
Right.
For re-election, or Kamala Harris? Like, this is all, they've bastardized the Epstein story to make it all about Trump.
Joe Biden had the worst debate ever. Do you think that his debate, his script writers, the people that wrote the things that popped up on the teleprompters that he could not read, do you think that those people would have missed that? They would have overlooked Wolf's documentation and just sent it on to East Africa? No. They would have sent that right to Joe Biden so Joe Biden could get in the groove and win this debate. So he could ultimately win the election. They would have brought this 1%, 2%, any percent of information out of Donald J. Trump being connected to Epstein. They would have brought that out a long time ago. You know, Kamala Harris would have word solid that on up. They would have ramped and rolled it on out. But they were scared it was about Bill Clinton or maybe one of their very close friends. They've bastardized this Epstein case into a political weapon. It's a tool now. It's not for justice. It's not for the victims. But it's only for one thing and one thing only. And it's to bring down Donald J. Trump.
I'm allowed to curse. I guess I can curse a little bit. She's like, Arthur, it's all bullshit. She's like, he's dead. And if I say anything, I get put in solitary confinement. So they're allowed to create this fairy tale in this story. But look, Chris, I heard about how much money the Epstein estate gave out. But all you had to kind of do was line up and say that this happened. There was no checks and balances, and they were writing out a check. I am positive, from what I know, that there was some young women there who are absolutely hurt and deserve that. I don't put Virginia Giuffre in that category. We've caught her lying so many times. The federal government, when they tried Ghislaine's case, they interviewed Giuffre for hours, maybe days. They never put her on the stand. You're a lawyer. Why? Why? Because she wasn't credible. She accused our friend Alan 6 times in 6 places, and then after years, when he sued her for defamation, then that's the case I handled against Giuffre. I may have made a mistake. Maybe it wasn't Alan Dershowitz over 6 times in 6 different locations. Ruined the guy's life. Ruined Dershowitz's life in his 80s by being falsely accused of this. So I heard the beginning of the show, and I'm not saying this because it's you and it's your show and you're my friend. You're absolutely correct. This is being used as a tool. It's being and you showed that in the beginning it was being used as a tool by the Republicans. Now it's being used as a tool by the Democrats. It's just being used as a tool. Folks, I do a lot of criminal law. I hate to break the news to you. There are a lot of pedophiles out there. We're dealing with some high-level people, and we don't hear about them because it's not being used as a tool the way this one is being used as a tool. And it's sad because I call BS on this is about the survivors.
Epstein on its head, posting today, Epstein was a Democrat and he is the Democrats' problem, not the Republicans' problem. Ramping things up further, the president writes, I will be asking Attorney General Pam Bondi and the Department.
Be careful what you wish. Be careful what you wish for. Okay, I will be asking AG Pam Bondi and the Department of Justice, together with our great patriots at the FBI, to investigate Jeffrey Epstein's involvement and relationship with Bill Clinton, Larry Summers, Reid Hoffman, J.P. Morgan, and institutions to determine what was going on with them and with Epstein. Y'all won't listen. You don't know the stove is hot until you touch it. I thought we learned that at like 2 or 3 years old. These Democrats has lost their mind. Now we have all the heat. Turn her right back to the kitchen where it belongs.
Department of Justice, together with our great patriots at the FBI, to investigate Jeffrey Epstein's involvement and relationship with Bill Clinton, Larry Summers, Reid Hoffman, J.P. Morgan, Chase, and many other people and institutions to determine what was going on with them and him. This is another Russia scam with all arrows pointing to the Democrats.
They should have left it alone. They should have left it alone.
Some Republicans on the Hill broke with the president this week, joining Democrats on a petition to compel the Justice Department's release of additional Epstein files. But that doesn't mean those Republicans believe President Trump was an Epstein accomplice.
Do you think President Trump has something to hide here?
I don't, because I believe the women.
The Attorney General Pam Bondi saw President Trump's truth.
The victim said that there was no there with Trump. Virginia said that Trump was a nice guy. He was a gentleman. Multiple women said that Trump was a nice guy and he was a gentleman.
Because they'd been photographed together. I wonder what you make of what else we learned in terms of the powerful people around Jeffrey Epstein at this time and what's coming out in these emails.
Yeah, look, I don't dispute there were powerful people around him. Most of them were leftists and globalists. And, Donald Trump, I don't think really had anything to do with it. The lady that you mentioned, Virginia, had said before that she'd only, I think, met Donald Trump once, and he was a perfect gentleman and didn't do anything untoward at all. And so, again, I think these things are being thrown out to try to smear Donald Trump, obviously, to try to change the subject away from the Democratic failures for having shut down the government for 43 days and inflicted pain on the American people. But nothing that I have seen in any of these documents prove anything, tell me anything. No one's ever disputed that Donald Trump knew Jeffrey Epstein. Of course, we've known that for years and years and years. We knew that yesterday. We know it today. And I just don't think, frankly, Caitlin, the American people, when they're looking at the pantheon of issues they've got going on right now, I just don't think this one ranks in that high for them.
Scott Jennings, Bakari Sellers, I want you guys to stick around. We are expected to see President Trump any moment now. He's going to be signing that bill to end.
Do you think that this is brand new? Do you think this is idiocracy? Do you think that the Democrats should take full responsibility of what's going on in the government? Not the Epstein files, not all the cover up and the smoke and mirrors that they're trying to do. Let us know what's going on with the Democrats and why aren't they pushing policy? They have AOC backing up Mondami. He's a socialist, he's a communist. They don't want us to talk about that narrative anymore. They don't want us to talk about the freezing of the rent. They want us to now talk about Donald Trump. And they want to put mud on his name and keep him underwater. They're going to push this narrative every time that they lose. Every time something seeps through the crevices on the Democrat Party, they're going to push this narrative. This is a tool that they bring out in every situation when they're losing. You guys let me know what you think in the comment. Please drop a comment down below. Do you think that they should release the Epstein files? I do too. I think that Donald Trump should have got in front of this so we wouldn't have this problem, but we're having this problem now and they're running free with it. They're running rampant. But you guys let me know what you think in the comment section down below. It's the Jay Revardo Show. We're going to bring you the truth, whether it's swept under the rugs, under the cabinets, under the car. We're going to bring it to you straight on the Jay Revardo Show.